today. Good morning, everyone. My name's Cassie McEwan, and I'm the Visit Scotland Industry Relationship Manager for the North Highlands, Inverness, Loch Ness and Nairn, as well as Badenoch and Strathspey. So I work within the Destination and Development team at Visit Scotland. So for today's webinar, I'm going to cover what Visit Scotland does, some insights from 2023, as well as give information on general Visit Scotland business support, as well as specialised support for businesses that like to grow sustainably. So as Niamh mentioned, I'm happy to take any questions at the end, and anything I can't answer, I'll find out and get back for you. So our remit as Visit Scotland is to grow the value of tourism to Scotland, with a focus on positioning Scotland as an inclusive year-round destination that delivers powerfully enriching personal experiences, prioritising key markets and audiences to grow Scotland's share of global travel in a sustainable way, and increasing the value per visit. So we exist to support the development of a thriving, vibrant tourism economy in Scotland. So not just economic value as traditionally seen in GDP, but relates to environmental, societal and economic benefits and returns generated by tourism. So what does success look like? So for us, that means delivering the 4S outcomes, and they're how we measure if we're successful in our efforts. So for each S, this looks at what this means for the visitor, industry and communities. So for spread, this means looking at extending the season by encouraging visitors to travel in the shoulder season, spread the visitors across Scotland in the areas that have capacity throughout the year, and showcasing different areas of typical honeypot destinations at different times of the year. So spreading the benefit to communities, industry and visitors, and showcasing Scotland as an all-year-round destination. For spend, extending the stay and local spend of visitors and adding that extra value. So creating bookable products that provide an immersive, authentic experience which visitors are willing to pay for, and creating that quality experience for visitors. So for sustainability, businesses looking to reduce their carbon footprint by sourcing local products and encouraging local spend in the area by collaborating with other businesses. Increasingly, tour operators are looking for their supply chain and looking for sustainable options. So from a visitor perspective, being aware of the impact of how they choose to travel. We are an island as the UK, so we're not going to get away from air travel, but they can have a look at when they get here. So looking at electric travel, whether that's by bike or car, or utilising resources such as Electric Explorer, or research the possibilities of using sites like Good Journey for public transport. Conservation of local wildlife, nature and culture by highlighting the education piece around this to visitors. So responsible, inclusive and regenerative experiences as well. And the last S is satisfaction. So local satisfaction in terms of the view of tourism's local impact, visitor satisfaction in terms of the quality and value of their stay, and industry satisfaction in terms of the profile of the sector, fair work and sustainable growth. So I thought I'd give a summary of Visit Scotland 2023 activity to give a snapshot of the types of activities that we're involved in. So we have our year-round marketing, which includes our consumer site, visitscotland.com, our social media channels and email marketing. Our intermediary marketing team are involved in working with intermediaries, which relates to anyone between you and the end client, so such as tour operators, travel advisors and such like. Scotland is Calling is our marketing campaign, which started during the COVID pandemic. So this was to put Scotland at the front of mind for visitors once the restrictions were lifted. So we've seen that Scotland has recovered quicker than other similar tourism destinations. And part of the reason for that is thought to be this activity during that time that other tourism destinations didn't do. Partnership working, so working with partners for Scotland is Calling campaign, as well as other partners such as Scottish Canals, Caledonian Sleeper, High Life Highland for Spirit Scotland campaign, as well as influencer programmes. Press, our travel PR and press teams work to promote Scotland as a destination via publications and media attention. So an example of the type of activity from our consumer PR team is the Witches Trail, which is on visitscotland.com, which highlights witchy activity across Scotland. They're always looking for anything that is quirky, new, anniversaries, anything like that can help promote Scotland as a destination. So businesses can get involved by looking at the marketing calendar, which I'll come on to in just a little bit, to determine what activity will fit best with the promoted themes, and also by sharing content with us on social media. And I'll include a link to that in the slides as well when they go round. So year-round marketing. So through the content on our social media channels, we've reached around 211 million people globally. The website, VisitScotland.com, which is our consumer site, sees over 11 million visits annually, with 1.3 million referrals from business listings to businesses' own websites. And through our email marketing, the team sent out 28 million emails to consumers last year. So those are visitors that have signed up for the newsletter on VisitScotland.com. Here is just a snapshot of the intermediary marketing team activity. So international visitors account for around 20% of visitors to Scotland and account for around 48% of the spend, with the US being the biggest international market to Scotland. So in summer 2023, there was a record demand and seat capacity from the likes of different US airlines. Tartan Week allowed for the team to meet with major US operators and partners. Visit Scotland Connect is our flagship trade event, and it takes place every April. So this past year, the event took place at the P&J Live in Aberdeen, and that'll be the same for this year, for 24 as well. Last year was the first year that we moved to a more B2B focused event with a workshop format as opposed to stand space. So it's essentially like speed dating, for want of a better phrase. So where businesses have 10-minute meetings, but it puts Scottish suppliers in front of the right buyers who are able to contract. So in 2023, we had 170 suppliers with 250 global tour operators, travel agents, travel advisors, and DMCs, which represented 23 countries globally. We attended a TOA, which is the European Tour Operator Association, and the team were able to attend the event. In 2023, also saw the first workshop for China programme since 2019. Here are some results from the Scotland is Calling campaign. So this includes the hero video and content on social media targeted at the UK domestic market and also to the US market. So for the UK, there were 3.9 million hero video views and 19.5 million impressions. And that was between September and November 22, as well as February to March 23. So impressions are just how many people have seen the content. For the US, there was 18.4 million views of the hero video and 101.8 million impressions during October to November 22 and January to March 23. Partnership working allows us to get the biggest return on our investment for Marketing Scotland. So on the slide, you can see examples of the types of activity that have taken place. So the NBC partnership, highlighted Edinburgh in this case. OTA, so online travel agent, partnership with Expedia is ongoing and will continue to do so as it's a large online travel agent for the US market, which, as I've mentioned, is our biggest international market. So you can see the results and the ratio of the return on ad spend is 115 to 1 with UK activity and 80 to 1 for US activity. We've just launched a National Geographic and Disney partnership with a hero video showcasing Disney-inspired locations as well. We also have an influencer programme, and we recently worked with Kinging It with Scottish Canals, which saw influencers travel the Caledonian Canal. So this was demonstrated as longer videos on YouTube, and within a day, it delivered 126,000 views and was number 18 on YouTube's trending video list as well. So for insights, what do we know? So in terms of demand, travel spend is coming back faster than the number of travellers. So those that are travelling, particularly international visitors, are spending more. Some visit evidence of slightly longer stays, and many major tour operators cite Scotland figures back at 2019 levels. Some are as up as much as 100% on 2019 figures. This demand is often reported as being higher than other competitor destinations, such as Ireland and other parts of the UK. We know that COVID increased savings per professional people and the rich got richer, so the luxury market is strong. And despite the ongoing economic and energy crisis, half of people say investing in a holiday is still a top priority. Pent-up demand is because consumers want to spend time disconnecting for their well-being. And according to Booking.com, 55% want to spend their holidays off-grid to spend time with loved ones. However, the current cost of living crisis means value for money is a key driver for destination selection, and it remains our Achilles heel in terms of visitor perception. Mood is very much you only live once, plan the greatest trip of all time, bucket list travel. And the priority has to be getting those travelling now and those higher value visitors. Travellers are adding in multiple destinations, not just travelling to one place at a time. But we are starting to see a shift in that to one location travel from some destinations. So particularly North America are looking at that one destination travel and promoting slow travel and allowing their clients to be fully immersed in the destination. So we are starting to see that shift. So as consumers, we're looking at the world through a different lens, with sustainability, inclusivity, fairness, health and well-being more front of mind. So a travel brand's commitment to sustainability, inclusion and diversity and accessibility is influencing consumers' purchasing decisions. 9 in 10 travellers claim that they've engaged in sustainable tourism behaviours, illustrating a strong emotional engagement and positive endorsement. And around 90% of Expedia travellers are looking for sustainable booking options, with 7 in 10 willing to pay more for an inclusive experience. Planning and booking. So the booking windows remain relatively short, particularly for the UK market, and even some long haul planned at short notice as well, although we are starting to see that returning back to that general longer term booking window for long haul destinations. Intermediaries have grown in importance as a key source of inspiration, information and trust throughout the stages of the tourism journey. So Expedia have done a piece of work on the visitor booking cycle, and I can send a link round to that as well. But it's saying that visitors use OTAs not just to book, but also to research their holiday as well. And they can look up to 100 pages before they actually go and book that trip. So it's good for that visibility. Package bookings remain particularly strong for some of our largest inbound markets. And it's not just the mature visitors that are using a travel agent or a tour operator, it's really across the board now, which is different to 2019. A customer who books with a travel agent spends on average 1.7 times more than a DIY customer did in 2019. So it's important to know that as well. Typically, Scotland will be part of a wider European break for many of our long-haul visitors, but as I mentioned, we're starting to see that one location travel as well. Immersive experiences continues to be a trend and is in much more demand by Scotland travellers. Tour operators are showing growing interest in agritourism options, and this is due to consumer demand for outdoor, family-friendly and food and drink related experiences. Demand for outdoor experiences varies across different markets. So there's a notable increase in inquiries from France for cycling holidays and from China for farm and wildlife tours. Unique and luxury travel experiences continue to be in demand by visitors from North America and East Asia, and travellers from these markets are willing to spend considerably for a once-in-travel intermediaries, then therefore looking to develop their programmes to include private bespoke touring options, exclusive access, memorable experiences. So these could be things such as meet the locals, meet the makers experiences, behind the scenes exclusive views, first look opportunities and added value experiences. The unique and authentic Scottish experiences will stand out, as will passionate owners and storytellers delivering a real sense of place and a lifetime of experiences. We're starting to see operators extending programmes into the shoulder and off season, and there's an increased demand for touring in electric vehicles from Germany and Netherlands specifically, and an increase in demand for rail travel from Europeans in general. North American intermediaries are seeing a switch to, as I mentioned, single country itineraries, supporting that slow tourism and allowing their clients to immerse themselves in the one destination. There's great work underway as well to educate consumers on the concept of more meaningful travel. So this is especially the case for the North American market. And by meaningful travel, we mean attractions and experiences which both engage and give back to local communities as well. And just to make a note as well, I've got on the slide here about SkipGen, which is grandparents travelling with grandchildren. So the Domestic Sentiment Tracker is a piece of ongoing research that's been running since May 2020. So the study initially started to track intentions during the pandemic, and it's now evolved to explore the impact of new barriers to travellers, such as the cost of living crisis. So the research also looks at planned and future intentions to take trips within the UK with a focus on Scotland. So as it was in 2022, London is the top preferred UK overnight destination for January through to March 2024. With Scotland in fourth equal position, accounting for 10% of the trip intenders. Looking further ahead to April, June, Scotland's in second place with 14% of trip intenders, which is a slight increase on the 2022 intention figures. So this slide here covers the executive summary of the most recent report, which is based on information gathered from July to September 2023. New reports should be coming out in February, and all of this information is available on VisitScotland.org. So the impact of the cost of living crisis. Cost of living and personal finances are front and centre of people's minds when considering a domestic trip. Both the UK public and the Scottish public, probably more so, are still broadly pessimistic in relation to the cost of living crisis and the impact on them personally. So 47% of Scottish residents felt that the worst is still to come, and 25% feel that they've been hit hard. This may have implications for people moderating their spending behaviour, including their ability or willingness to spend on leisure. However, the impact of the crisis isn't uniform, so there's about 10% of Scottish residents feel they're better off than they were before, and 24% feel like they haven't been affected at all. So retirees are more likely than other life stages to feel that they've not been impacted by the crisis. Financial factors lead the way in terms of barriers to taking a domestic holiday or short break, and the cost of fuel, which was initially seen as quite a high barrier on the list, has now dropped, as you would understand. Implications of the cost of living crisis on domestic trip taking behaviour. So there's a strong aspiration to take a UK domestic trip amongst the UK public, but the intention isn't always converted into an actual trip. And this trend is more apparent now than in 2021. Concern around finances is nudging UK residents to consider cutting back on their spending on UK holidays, and people appear to be more likely to cut back on accommodation and eating out rather than things to do. As we saw before, decision-making is last minute, continuing a trend that started in the pandemic. And booking behaviour differs by income group. So more affluent Scottish travellers are likely to book further ahead. Life stage also influences whether an intended trip happens or not, with older groups more likely to follow through with a booking. So summer 23, overnight trips taking amongst the UK public was inching upwards. More UK residents took overnight trips, both within the UK and overseas in 2023 than in 22 and 21. Compared to 21, there's been a fall in the proportion of younger age groups and families stating that they've taken an overnight stay in the summer, and there's been a rise in older age groups taking summer trips. Amongst summer trip takers, people appear to be travelling further afield, so a return to their pre-pandemic behaviour. And the proportion of non-Scottish residents stating that they've taken a summer trip to Scotland rose compared to the previous year. Scotland, autumn and winter 2023, so trip intender behaviour snapshot. So 2 in 5 of the UK population are anticipating taking a domestic trip or short break from November 23 to March 24. 10% of trip advisors plan to travel to Scotland, and this is a slight but not significant drop on 2022. Families make up the large proportion of Scotland intenders, but with retirees twice as likely to book, it's likely that they'll be better represented when it comes to the actual trips taken when we can see that result. The majority of autumn and winter trips are likely to be short breaks, similar to 2022, and walking, visiting heritage sites and trying local food and drink are the leading activities planned. So moving on now to Scotland support, Visit Scotland support, Visit Scotland offers a range of support for Scottish tourism businesses via our corporate website, VisitScotland.org. So any tourism business can apply for a free listing on our consumer site, VisitScotland.com. So that could be accommodation, and then we also have our tours management system. So any tour operators can also be listed on there as well. Support is given from our customer services team for anyone needing help on updating or making changes to this. Businesses can also apply to the Visit Scotland Quality Assurance Scheme. So this is our official grading system and associated schemes such as Taste Our Best. The third grading offers visitors reassurance, especially since the pandemic, and allows them to make informed choices. It's an internationally recognised brand, which allows businesses to benchmark performance as well as use as a tool for growth. The internationally recognised brand as well works well with the tour operators, travel agents, etc. As whatever makes their life easier is what they're going to go with. So if they can say definitively that's a 4-star or a 5-star establishment, then that ticks a box for them in terms of their clients' needs as well. Visit Scotland's marketing calendar for 2024 shows our key messages and authentic experiences for each season. So we aim to promote these on our year-round marketing, so our VisitScotland.com, our social media channels, influencer marketing programmes, and our email marketing programme as well. And I'll cover that in a little bit more detail on the next slide. Travel PR and campaigns. So we've covered this in the previous slides, but it's worth having it here as something that tourism businesses can get involved with. And I've also just popped a link there to our e-newsletter as well. So I wanted to go into a little bit more detail about the marketing calendar and the types of activity that we're promoting and how to get involved. So the marketing calendar shows our key messages, authentic experiences, which are seasonally themed. So authentic experiences we wish to promote. So for spring, which is March to May, any guided outdoor activities, water sports, seasonal food experiences that showcase Scotland's natural larder, any attractions that are reopening for the season, any Easter events, agritourism products. For the summer, which is we're marking as June to August, again, outdoor experiences, walking, cycling, but also exhilaration trips as well. So bungee jumping, whitewater rafting, insider tips and hidden gems, off the beaten track experiences and food markets. For autumn, September to November, again, that seasonal outdoor experience focusing on wildlife, cycling tours, autumn foliage, Scotland's wildlife and nature reserves. Looking at seasonal food experiences as well, such as pumpkin picking, foraging, and then we're looking to highlight those cosy stays at B&Bs and guest houses, as well as wellness experiences such as yoga, meditation. For winter, it's very much about the cosy destinations, luxury lodges, winter guided tours, and food and drink experiences. Also looking towards 2025 at that point as well, and looking for any new experiences that are taking place. So you can get involved by emailing me, our travel PR team, which is travelpr@visitscotland.com, and also sharing your content with us on social media. So I've included a link in the notes for the slide as well on how to do that, how to share content with us on social media and the types of content that we're looking for. So we've covered the generalised Visit Scotland support, and I wanted to go into a little bit more detail about the support given by my role as an industry relationship manager. So my role is to work directly with businesses to essentially give advice on routes to market and how to maximise opportunities in line with the 4 S's that I talked about just at the start of the presentation. So all the points on the next few slides are all intertwined, and it all comes down to what is your product and how do you get it out there and who are you putting it out there to. So this slide gives a good visual of the different routes to market. So direct being through your own website, route 2 via online travel agents such as Expedia or Get Your Guide for experiences, and the remaining routes to market covering travel trade, which is working business to consumer. So it's who's in between you and that end user. For digital and bookability, which focuses on the direct route to market, we offer businesses a free digital review. So this is a 10-point checklist and it covers the basics of business's digital presence online. So this covers your business website, how it's performing, social media content, as well as online reputation management. Digital advice and support. So this could be with regards to signposting to other organisations or providing the support ourselves within signposting within Visit Scotland to different teams. Booking engine support. So it does all start with tech, and our team is available to support businesses on what considerations you want to make when identifying an online booking provider. So for accommodation and experiences, looking at things like customer research management, channel management, payment information, and we have resources available on visitscotland.org which allow you to narrow down choices based on your needs. Travel distribution. So this comes back to the routes to market, and the digital side of this covers working with online intermediaries, such as I mentioned, Expedia and Get Your Guide, for experience providers, and how you can best work with them to expand your business to your benefit. So looking at the other side of travel distribution, which is travel trade, and this is help and support to understand what travel trade is, and also a roadmap of how to work with travel trade and how it's all connected digitally as well as offline. So the way we do this is looking at product development. So what could you offer? To what markets are you going to offer that? How could it work for you to your advantage? So is there a time of year specifically, days of the week, afternoons, where you have a capacity that you'd like to fill? And we can discuss that more detail in a one-to-one scenario and how best to make that work for you. We have a dedicated travel trade website, which allows tour operators, travel advisors to view businesses that are travel trade ready to create itineraries for visitors coming to Scotland. Businesses can list on the website free of charge. It's just important to make sure that the text is in trade focused language. So not you're going to have a great time when you come to Visit Scotland, it's your clients can do this, because oftentimes the travel advisor, tour operator, etc. might not have that in-depth knowledge and may not have visited the place before. We have a template product sheet, which helps businesses to hone in on what products and experiences they're offering. That can be quite helpful if you're in a situation where you're going to a trade show or you're wanting to work with a new operator. It's a way for you to hone in what those experiences are, but also consistently for your business as well, so that if it's not you that's given that information, then your staff all have the same information. We offer pitch preparation. So for Visit Scotland Connect, which we talked about earlier, we help businesses prepare their pitch to speak to buyers by focusing in on what the buyer wants to know, which sounds really obvious, but in its most basic form, they want to know who you are, what you do, where are you located, what's your capacity in terms of rooms, group size, covers, and what makes you unique. So other things such as cancellation policies, those can be covered in that one-to-one situation. And those 5 points, are what you want to expand on, depending whether your pitch is 5 minutes, 10 minutes, etc. That's the basics of what they're wanting to know. Location, it comes down to where are you in relation to major transport hubs? So how far are you away from Inverness Airport, Aberdeen Airport, Edinburgh Airport? What are the hubs? How can they get to you? So basically, whatever makes the operator's life easier, they're going to want to know. We hold monthly B2B, which is business to business, product update sessions for the Visit Scotland teams, as well as select intermediaries. So they're aware of new products, those that are travel trade ready, but also informs our travel PR teams of what's out there. And hopefully you can see how this is all connected from the presentation so far. So I mentioned Visit Scotland Connect already, which takes place in April, but we also hold other events as well to our key markets. So we hold a destination management company event for the North American market in November, and a new to travel trade event for businesses in December for businesses who've not worked with travel trade before. We also have a series of luxury webinars which are taking place at the moment to luxury travel advisors in North America that our intermediate marketing teams have cultivated relationships with. So responsible tourism is a thread that runs through all of this activity, and it's being increasingly asked for from consumers and trade. So we saw on the previous slide that 90% of Expedia's users are looking for that responsible options when they're travelling. This activity, as well as being inclusive when it comes to the likes of responsible tourism for accessibility guides, for example, green policies, which will all allow you to access new markets and stand out from other businesses. And in the case of climate action plans, can sometimes save you money as well. So I've talked about routes to market, about consumers and trade, and I thought this might be helpful to show as a visual how this all fits together. So this slide gives an example of how it all works in practice. So creating bookable product and being discoverable can lead to sustainable growth. So working on your own channels to start with, so being bookable, so visitors finding you directly and booking a product. Storytelling and authentic experiences, which is increasingly important for SEO as well, since Google's new rollout in November 23. So it's all about the content and you being that authoritative figure to give that information. So previously, where you may have had rammed pack full of keywords, if you're having information such as weather and things like that, that's not really going to help you as much as having that authentic experience and having that authoritative information from you as a business. Booking systems, linking with OTAs as a way of maximising your audience and managing your marketing budget. So bookable versus discoverable. Discoverable is using this as a marketing tool to access new markets that you wouldn't be able to with just a booking engine. To travel trade, so selling a unique experience, working with intermediaries to grow your business to your benefit and how you want to be filling gaps in your capacity. So the benefit of this, or part of some of the benefits of that, is that they book in advance and allow you to manage your staff when required, and this can provide a regular income throughout the year as well. Sustainability and inclusivity are the thread between it all. So I hope this has given an overview of the types of activity and the support that Visit Scotland can offer, and I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.